welcome to Bahrain. Thankfully, the fog has ebbed and we have bright sunshine for what is the grand finale of what has been an amazing FIA World Endurance Championship. Well, one prize has been decided. LMP1 has been won by Audi yet again. And for the last outing of the R18 e-tron, it's Bahrain, where they will be perhaps in their pole. On the front row of the grid, though, it is Toyota. Cars 7 and 8 going for their first win of the season. So the track looks like this. We have a complicated infield with some extraordinarily fast sections, and we find the field right now on the formation lap. It's been a busy old qualifying time, and of course with three classes still up for grabs, each with 3 teams capable of taking the title: LMP2, GT Pro and GT Am, all to be decided right here. It makes for potentially a terrific race. My name's Carlton Kirby, and alongside me is Mark Cole. Mark, what a grand finale.
Yeah, hi, good evening, Carlton. Yeah, great finale on this excellent Sakhir Bahrain International Circuit, 5.4 kilometers, and of course home with Formula One here in the Gulf, along with Abu Dhabi. 2004, the first Grand Prix here, and the second year the World Endurance Championships has been here. Last year it was the #1 Audi that won it against Toyota. How's that going to pan out here this afternoon and into the evening in what is a night race?
Yeah, terrific. We're going through the starter grid right now, and it is leading off, as we've already told you. It's Toyota's looking out the front row, followed by our champions in LMP1. The 2-car, Tom Christensen, Alan McNish on board that machine. And starting off will be, in fact, Tom Christensen. Bernard Trudier in the #1 Audi, also here. They won here last year, let's not forget, as defending champions. Alan McNish then looking moderately nervous, as are Toyota, waiting for the lights to go. Everybody happy? Yes, they are. And it's a terrific start by Toyota, driving away from Audi, just bedding in behind, keeping everything safe. But look how the field is fanning out behind them. Early days, will they all fit? 6 will not go into this corner. There is bound to be contact, and so it is proving a little bit further back. Oh, dearie me, and there's a cost.
Yeah, it's the LMP2 runners all tangling there, and coming out worst of that in the Lotus there. Vietor Antonio Liuzzi, he has been knocked sideways off the track. He involved Bertrand Baguette, the man who needs to win the championship here today, and others also delayed, as you can see, still trying to pick themselves up.
Yeah, still trying to pick themselves up, but on board with the 92 car, sharing the, well, indeed on pole, Leitz and Lieb, partnership that's likely to split for next year. But Porsche coming here with this newly designed machine. There it is, looking like something like a basking shark, as you can see. So on board with the 97 Aston Martin, looking back, this the leader of the championship, let's not forget, and of course clipping out their heels 2 other vehicles. Likewise in GT Am, the 96 car, Jamie Campbell-Walter and Stuart Hall, wrestling with having to not exactly having to nurse, but at least taking on board, of course, the man who gives them their Am status for this one, Roald Goethe, who is, of course, the car owner. On board with that vehicle right now, and it's Goethe who is taking the start.
Yes, he'll take the first 2 hours. They don't want him to have to race that car at night. He hasn't raced since Le Mans. He's been in Nigeria on business, and Stuart and Jamie then sharing that car with him, and Stuart having mentored him this year. So good job already by Roald, keeping that car there. But here's the race leaders. It's a #7 Toyota from the #8 from the 2 Audis, and then the Rebellion, best of the rest there in LMP1, running in 5th. Last race ever for this car, the Lola Toyota Coupe. So that will be a sad end to the long and honourable history of Lola cars when that car is retired tonight.
Yes, a real shame, of course. Lola going into administration last year, and a real shame. One of the great stalwarts of not only racing throughout Europe and the world, but particularly in the United States as well. Great favourite, and I'm sure that chassis will be seen in action for some time, but not in the World Endurance Championship after today. So 5 hours and 57 minutes remaining, and well, it was a busy start, but it's settled down nice and almost formally, it seems, out front. This is how they got underway.
So restart there, the Toyota's pulling, and Nick Lapierre going straight into the lead from pole position. Good move there by him, and he's tucked in behind there by his wingman. That is in the second car there, Stefan Sarazan doing the job there. But look at this, the LMP2s fall over each other, and then Antonio Liuzzi in the Lotus. If it wasn't for bad luck, the Lotus team would have no luck at all, because that car is knocked off the track and out of the race on turn 2.
Worth talking about which teams are involved, Mark, in the run for the championship, as we remind ourselves of just how bruising this was at the beginning. It's very much still up for grabs.
Yeah, 3 teams still in contention, 9 drivers, but they're putting themselves out. This is the other Lotus, Dominic Kramer, colliding with one of the new Porsches. This is the car of Richard Leeds. This is the 2014 Porsche, which is being run for the first time. They can do that right at the end of the season. He is limping back to the pits as Dominic Kramer pulls up, and both Lotuses out in the first 5 laps.
Yeah, first pole of the season for Porsche, and they got tagged there, and Kramer, as you can see, up against the wall. Lotus, a bad day for them, and well, a nasty redesign for the Porsche, taken into the garage, perhaps for a brief look. Is it that serious, Mark?
No, they did actually recover from that. It's no more than cosmetic damage there, but of course the big thing about that, and here's another of the Porsches coming through the picture, these cars will still be running with the factory team next year in GT Pro, still run by Wolfgang Manthey, because they'll have parallel programs running with LMP1, that new car which everyone's waiting to see exactly what is this prototype going to be. Is it going to be 2 litre, or is it going to be more? We know it's a petrol hybrid, that's all they're telling us.
No, we're just looking back at the Aston Martins here. Aston Martins 3 and 4 in class. The 97 and the 99 machine. Got to tell you that later into this race it was issues for both of the pro cars. Nice to see them getting so close to each other. Great action on the track and beautifully delivered, as you know. But Mark, destined for heartbreak, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Aston Martin coming here leading in both categories, GT Pro and AM, but are they going to make that work? We don't know, because problems started to crop up quite early on. They didn't take the pole position, the 2 Porsches did that. Let's get back though to the #1 Audi Team US car. This car at the moment running a solid 3rd place in the race behind the 2 Toyotas. First of the cars to make a pit stop.
Yes, first of the cars to make a pit stop, but having overtaken under yellow, we're actually given a drive-through penalty as well along the way. The number 8 Toyota coming into the pits. No win so far this season, but 2nd place is at Le Mans, and of course Austin in Texas. Good runners-up spot, but not good enough for Toyota, who are acknowledged as one of the fastest, in fact the fastest car here by the great Alan McNish, who said they should have perhaps won it last year, but maybe heat was a huge factor then. Far cooler this time though.
Yeah, the reason for that, the race is being run in November. It is 10 degrees cooler, and it's going into the night, this one, like last year's did, but all things considered, much better track conditions, much better driver conditions in those cockpits, and everyone actually quite comfortable this weekend.
And as you can see, as the Audis come into view, the Toyotas were not to be headed, building up such a dominant lead, it seems, that they only swapped amongst themselves, Mark.
Yep, that's all they can do. Problems early on between Tracy Krohn and Tom Christensen. That's the other car, the Tracy Krohn car, involved during the qualifying sessions with Christensen, and again it tangles, this time with the #1 Audi with Marcel Fassler on board. Wolfgang Ulrich looking on thinking, this is not exactly what I want to see my guys doing.
No, I think that's the case. Already, of course, champions, but the onboard footage of that Chrome Green Meanie spinning, quite dramatic. Check this out.
Yeah, and
not what you want to see at that kind of pace.
And that, of course, is not the fault of Nick Johnson, who's on board, and for that there will be a drive-through penalty for the #1 car as the race progresses.
Yes, exactly. And overtaking under yellow as well for the #1 car, bringing out a drive-through penalty for them. So there we are, just 5 hours to go, and as you can see, a change at the top with Aston Martin Racing and the 99 car taking the lead in the class, and this bodes well. Yeah,
but only briefly. It's while the 51 car was making its pit stop, and of course at the moment this has been all about Porsche and Ferrari up front. Aston Martin just hanging on. There on your screens in 6th place overall, Pecom Racing starting from pole in LMP2, and they are really pushing now for the championship. So G-Drive Racing behind them, Greaves, and the best of the GT cars. There we are, Aston Martin at this moment in 13th place, and the best of the rest is the Danish Aston Martin, leading in the orange category there. That is GT with Nygaard, Poulsen and Tim on board.
Yes, and car 96 just doing enough with Goethe for the time being to maintain that share. Well, it seems that Bahrain is all about Toyota, and indeed they're trying to keep it as clean as possible, and occasionally taking the little excursion off the track. The 7 car doing exactly that. Got to tell you that life was not boding well for that 7 car, and engine failure was in the offing. Not at this point though, and still 1 and 2 out front, and the 8 car likewise, just keeping things sensible. They were swapping places. Yeah,
having led from early on, the 7 car suffering all sorts of problems. That's why the 8 car went past. But this is Nico Prost on board the Rebellion Lola. Last outing for the Lola and last lap now behind it. Engine failure and a fire in the engine bay, and Nico parks up. Rebellion's use of the Lola Coupe now over. They got their own car from next year.
Yes, Orica in 2014 providing it, and yes, unfortunately a sad end to what was one of the prettiest cars out there, I've got to say.
Yeah, we've talked about Porsche's new car, and Stracker also will be coming back into the series. LMP2 with a dome Nissan. It's going to have a Nissan factory blessing with it, and this could, people suggest, be a precursor to a P1 program for Nissan sometime in the near future. So watch that space as the number 8 car gets back in to the race.
It was the 7 car coming back in
out of the pits, and the 8 car now starting to establish itself out front of the 7. The 7 having suffered from those understeer problems.
Yes, sun going down then, heading into twilight, and the new lighting system which has been installed to cater for Formula 1 just starting to show itself. Indeed, the pace of the Toyotas likewise unencumbered, it seems, from the beginning by too much traffic. Such was their pace. In fact, when they locked out the front row, quite impressive. The burn-off, by the way, from some of the oil wells in the locale, causing a little bit of smoke late on, but nothing like the fog that we've been suffering, and so our worries about fog dispelled. Yeah,
those pictures just reminding us that this is black gold here in the Gulf, and talking of black gold, that's what's coming from underneath the number 7 car. Alex Wurtz's Toyota launches its engine and spews its oil all over the track, pulls off a rare engine failure nowadays in LMP1 for any team. But sad to see that bit of smoke there. Alex will get out the car, and the number 2 car then moving up into 2nd place behind the number 8 Toyota.
Yes, well, Audi themselves were to experience some problems. Those flares really providing a dramatic backdrop, but a dramatic exit as well for the team that, in inverted commas, won in Fuji, that race that was conducted almost entirely, in fact entirely, behind the safety car. Yeah, so for a couple of laps. Out they come. Engine failure, I'm afraid. As you said, Mark, a rarity, but one they wouldn't have wanted to happen.
Yeah, as he walks back to the pits, they're waiting to give us his commiserations is Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, architect of Audi's Le Mans victories. Let's hear from Alex about what happened.
Yeah, disappointing. It was about tire management. The car came together nicely. I was chasing Stefan, who did really well, but I came close to him. But anyway, I think it's engine or gearbox, and there's no way to continue. I'm sorry.
What did happen in the car then? What did you feel?
Everything went to plan. Everything okay, but what I felt on anything on the drivetrain, I don't know really.
Thanks.
There we are. Got to be said, next series of pit stops just went like a song for the 8 car. Into the darkness then, into night proper, and Audi doing a proper job of trying to chase them down. The number 2 car still hadn't had Alan McNish on board and was starting to have its own issues. The gearbox was the problem. The danger was, of course, that this car would do just enough, but without Alan producing